Assalamualaikum and have a nice day. My name is Nuhasina Masara binti Muhammad Zamani with matrix number S55146. Firstly, I choose two companies from the consumer products, which is Hapseng Industri Berhad and Huatai Industri Berhad. In calculating the financial analysis, I choose liquidity ratio for the annual report in 2019 for both companies. In the liquidity ratio, there are some ratios to determine the liquidity of the companies, such as current ratio, quick ratio or acid test ratio, account receivable turnover, and inventory turnover. I have prepared to calculate the ratio in Microsoft Excel and provide all the workings and interpretation. The first step is, in calculating the liquidity ratio, we must calculate the current ratio. The current ratio is calculated by dividing current assets by current liabilities. We can get the data from the financial position for both companies. Such example for Hapsang Industries Berhad, the current asset for this company is 147,362,198 ringgit divided by 75,175,460 ringgit of its current liabilities. The amount we get for the current ratio is 1.96%. For every 1 ringgit of current liability, the company has 1 ringgit 96 cent of current asset available to pay for it. Then, same calculation for Huatai Industries. The current asset is 43,798,484 ringgit divided by 35,128,008 ringgit of its current liabilities. The amount we get is 1.25% for the current ratio. This means for every 1 ringgit of current liability, the company has 1 ringgit 25 cent of current asset to pay for it. It is pretty clear that Hapseng is more liquid and is apparently in a better position to pay off its liabilities. The next step is calculating the quick ratio or acid test ratio for the both companies. The quick ratio by current assets minus inventory and dividing them by current liabilities. Such example for Hapseng company, we must fill the formula with the data given. The current asset is 147,362,198 ringgit minus its inventory 24,297,063 ringgit and dividing them by 75,175,460 ringgit of its current liabilities, and then we get 1.64% for quick ratio. The quick ratio of 1.64% shows that Hapseng has enough current assets to cover its current liabilities. After that, for Huatai Company, the current asset is 43,798,484 ringgit minus its inventory 8,226,594 ringgit and divide them by 35,128 ringgit of its current liabilities, then we get 1.01%. Based on calculation above, it means that the company can pay off all of its current liabilities with quick assets and still have some quick assets remaining. Based on comparison between Hapseng and Huatai, these companies have a quick ratio that is greater than 1, but Hapseng company is better than Huatai. After that, calculating accounts receivable turnover. Accounts receivable turnover is calculated by dividing net credit sales by the average accounts receivable for that period. For Hapseng company, they did provide the net credit sales, so I take the sales instead of net credit sales. The sales is 309,539,034 ringgit divided by 36,476 ringgit of average accounts receivable. The average account receivable is beginning accounts receivable plus ending accounts receivable, then divide by 2. Then we get 8.6% for accounts receivable turnover. Therefore, Hubsan Company collect its average account receivable approximately 8.6 times over the fiscal year ended 31st December 2019. After that, for Huatai Company, the sales is 65,352,730 ringgit divided by 23,498,060 ringgit of average accounts receivable. Then we get 2.78%. Huatai Company collect its average accounts receivable approximately 2.78 times over the fiscal year ended 31st December 2019. A company could improve its turnover ratio by making changes to its collection process and could offer its customer discounts for paying early. The last step is calculating the inventory turnover. The inventory turnover ratio is calculated by dividing the cost of goods sold for a period by average inventory for that period. Firstly, the cost of goods sold for Hubsan Company is 204,250,655 ringgit divided by 4,855,689 ringgit of average inventories, then we get 8.22%. Within a year, Hubsan tends to turn over its inventory 8 times. For Huatai Company, the cost of goods sold is 46,546,728 ringgit divided by average inventories 8,131,768 ringgit and 50 cents. Then we get 5.72%. Within a year, Huatai tends to turn over its inventory 6 times. By comparing the inventory turnover ratios of Hubsan and Huatai, we can see that Hubsan sells its inventory 8.22 times over a period of 1 year compared to Huatai 5.72 times. It implies that Hubsan Company more efficiently sell the inventories it buys. In addition, it may show that Hubsan is not overspending on inventory purchases. In conclusion, by comparing the liquidity ratio, we can see that Hubsan Company has a more liquid company better than Huatai Company. So that's all from me. Thank you.